So you've just wrapped up a brand collaboration and now it's time to get paid. In today's video, we are going to talk about the process of invoicing brands, including what an invoice actually is, what you should include in your invoices, and when to invoice the brand after a campaign. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Austen and I'm a fashion and beauty content creator based in New York City. I'm passionate about helping micro-influencers create great content, grow their brands, and make sustainable income from content creation. So if any of that interests you, please consider subscribing to my channel. I put out new videos every Tuesday and you can turn on the notifications so that you never miss a video from me. I've been a digital content creator for almost a decade, which is insane to say, and it's safe to say I've done my fair share of brand deals over the years. I've received some questions from this community about how to actually get paid once you've finished a brand collaboration, so let's get started with the basics of invoicing. An invoice is pretty much like a receipt that you send to a company after you complete a project for them. So starting out with the basics of getting paid by someone, especially if you are a freelancer or contractor, which is the case for most influencers and content creators. First up, the terms of when and how you'll get paid should be outlined in the initial contract or agreement that you had with the brand. So go back into that agreement and double check to see when you're supposed to get paid and what the method of payment will be. So net 30 is pretty much the standard payment term for a freelancer or contract worker, which basically means that 30 days after the work is complete is when you'll receive payment for the project. Some contract workers are able to get, half paid up front. Some people end up on net 60 or even net 90 payment terms, which is a little much if you ask me, but I would definitely try to negotiate to at least net 30 for any future contracts that you come across as an influencer. Now, there are a few different ways that you could get paid by a brand depending on, again, what was outlined in your initial agreement. And as a reminder, I'm a content creator based in the United States, so I'm mainly speaking to this market based on my own experience. My preferred way to get paid by brands is always via direct deposit, in which case I would give them my account number and routing number to my bank the same way I would if they were writing a check to me, so that they know which account to deposit the money into after I've completed the project. Then there are some brands who prefer to pay people via PayPal or Venmo. So PayPal and Venmo are pretty safe and standard ways to get paid when you're a content creator. I would just work into your rate ahead of time if you know that that's how you're going to get paid, a few more dollars than you think you would need to account for the goods and services charged that will get put on you, the seller of the good or service. If a company is paying you for goods or services via PayPal or Venmo, they will need to check the box certifying that it is a purchase for goods and services, and that will take a small fee out of your payment as you are the seller of the good or service. So I would just factor that into your rate ahead of time so that you don't feel like you're missing money if the brand pays you and you didn't account for that charge on your side. Let's move on and talk about what exactly to include on your invoice to make sure that you get paid. So a few things to start off: make sure your name is somewhere on the invoice, and also if you're saving this invoice as a PDF or Word document, I would also put your name in the title of that document. I personally like to include an invoice number, and this is mainly for my own internal tracking, just so I can keep track of which invoices were associated with which companies. So you can start at number 1 if it's your first invoice and work your way up. You should include the date that the invoice is issued, which is going to be the date that you send it to the brand, and I would also put the date that the invoice needs to be fulfilled by, or the due date for the payment on the invoice too. You'll want to include your own contact information. So for me, I typically include my full name, my mailing address, my phone number, and my email. And you'll also want to include the information of the person who you've been in contact with at the brand that you're working with. So I like to include their full name, email address, and phone number at the very least, and I can also include the company address if that's necessary too. Make sure to also include the service that you provided and maybe a little description of it on this invoice. The most important number to include is the total amount that the brand owes you. And you'll also want to make sure you include your payment details so they can actually pay you. So if you're getting paid via direct deposit, you'll want to include your account number, routing number, as well as the name of your bank. If you're getting paid via PayPal or Venmo, make sure you include your username for whichever profile you're using. So if you want to create an invoice on your own, you can take all of the information I just shared and put it into a Word doc or a Photoshop file or an Adobe PDF. If you heard all of that and think that it might be too much work to create an invoice on your own, I've actually gone ahead and done the work for you. So I sell these invoice templates on my website. They actually come in 4 different colors. So if you're interested in purchasing this invoice template, you can grab yours for $5 at the link down below in my description box. And it's totally editable within Canva. So you just replace the dummy text with your own information, save it as a PDF, and send it off to the brand. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is when to actually send your invoice to the brand. So typically for most influencer campaigns, brands will want to see analytics from your posts after they've gone live. So if you posted a TikTok video, they probably will want you to wait 24 to 48 hours after you post that video and then share screenshots of the analytics from your content. So what I like to do is send the brand a little campaign wrap-up email where I'll share any requested analytics and screenshots from my content going live. Sometimes I'll highlight my favorite comments. I think that can add a personal touch, and this is especially great if you are a micro influencer and maybe your numbers aren't huge, but you've got a really engaged comments section. And in addition to any of those screenshots or campaign insights, I will also include my invoice at that point. That way you are giving the brand some value and sharing insights from how the campaign actually went, and you're also sending your invoice basically just as protocol. So you should never feel weird about asking to be paid for the work that you did. And then one other thing I like to do just for my own organization is to set a reminder in my Google Calendar the day before the invoice is due. So if they haven't paid it out by the time it's about to be due at that point, I can send an email and say, hey, just a friendly reminder that your payment will be due tomorrow for the work that we did together. And again, thanks so much for partnering me. I had a really great time collaborating. If for some reason a brand is late to pay you and they're going to pay you after the date that they promised they would pay you, something you might want to consider putting into your contracts when you're first negotiating with the brand is actually a fee for late payments. So some people will do a percentage late fee based on how many days after the initial due date the brand actually ends up paying you, and some people will include a flat rate late fee. There's less math associated with that one, so that is what I would include in my contracts, but the choice is yours, and not all brands will be willing to accommodate that, but if you have any flexibility when you're creating your contract at the beginning, it's definitely something worth asking for. I look forward to the day where influencers just can get paid within 2 weeks, just like any other job, but until then, this is kind of the standard process, and I hope you find my templates helpful if you have never invoiced a brand before and are just looking for a creative but clean and simple professional design that you can quickly plug and play your information and send off to a brand. And again, you can grab that just from the link down below in the description box if you're interested. And that just about wraps up today's video. So if you guys have any questions about invoicing that I didn't get to in this video, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. And you can also leave me requests for other video topics. I always love looking at your comments and kind of pulling from real world examples to create these videos. As I mentioned earlier, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stick around for new videos every Tuesday. You can turn on the notifications so that you never miss a video from me. And please give me a thumbs up down below if this video was useful in any way. That really helps out my channel and shows me what type of content you guys are enjoying the most. I'll be back next Tuesday with another video. Until then, thanks so much for watching and have an awesome rest of your day. Bye!